Hey, Andy. So why don't you give us a recap of last week when we started our segment? We discussed about you being born HIV positive. So tell us a little bit about your mother and when you found out you were HIV positive, and then we'll move forward from there.
Um, I was born HIV positive. My mom got I got it from my mom, who in turn got it from a partner, and she
And you said her
kind of
partner was
had
not your dad, right?
right, it wasn't my dad. So she kind of had an idea that she was HIV positive, but she was kind of in denial about it. So it wasn't until like I got sick at 2 years old that she I guess found out for sure that she had it because the doctors kind of suggested that we both get tested. And my mom was like, "Oh, he don't need to get tested. He's just a baby. He don't have HIV." And sure enough, came back positive.
Wow. And so your mom withheld all the medication from you, and she was too embarrassed to take her own medication, correct?
Sorry, say that one more time. Phone was being rude, interrupting.
It's okay. You said that your mom withheld medication from you, which got you really sick, and then
Yes,
she was also too embarrassed to take her own medication, which
correct.
in turn, unfortunately, became her ends, correct? Because she didn't take care of herself.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. So, she had a best friend, Juanita, who she told about, but other than that, like my family had no idea until she started to really show symptoms.
Wow. So, what symptoms did she show?
Fevers, just always fatigue was first, and then after a while it just didn't feel well. I don't remember much of it because I was only 5 at the time that she passed away, but I do remember, her body kind of transformed into like we were both about the same skin complexion, and then she just got like maybe 4 tones darker.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, since we did the recap of it, why don't you tell us a little bit more? What memory do you have that um, any trials and tribulations that you went through growing up being HIV positive?
Um, I guess growing up, I for one, I was the only kid in my class that I knew that had HIV. So I would always, have to explain, I guess, dance around it, telling my friends, why I was taking medicine over sleepovers, and because I was the only one. So I had to deal with that. I also faced a lot of depression because it was just wondering like why was my story starting off with the tragedy. Why did I lose my mom at 5?
So,
Um,
what
you know,
age did you exhibit this depression, and when did you seek help for it?
I really started feeling it. I want to say it, as I mentioned last week, Mother's Day and my mom's birthday and January 7th, the day she died, were like the 3 worst days for me every year after she passed away. But like it really got bad maybe 13, especially her 10th anniversary when I was 15.
Wow.
So I got help for it right after the 10th anniversary, but I only saw a therapist like 3 days because a little bit of me was like, all right, I don't know this lady. We're not building a connection. So why? Why am I talking to her? So I guess I got help a little bit from close peers. Andy Newman, which is actually where I got the name Andy Feds from. He is a teacher at my high school, and he was kind of one of those close connections that I was able to just talk openly about. Became like a father figure to me.
Okay. So, you didn't choose the route of seeking professional help. You found support
Mhm.
elsewhere with somebody that you trusted.
Yeah.
Right. So I bet there are a lot of people who are probably going through the same thing as you, not
Mm.
as young as you did, but who are just have that fear of finding out whether they're HIV or AIDS positive and
Hmm.
going into that depression. Like, what do you have to say to them?
The biggest thing I can say that helped me out was just talking. And I think that probably would have helped my mom out too. Because as I mentioned, she didn't want to talk about it. So um, just being able to, not even if you can't find professional help, find somebody that you're really close to, find support groups. I after I don't somebody's trying to call me. And that's my grandma. So after sorry, hey, can I get on this video chat? So after I started the keeping it positive in 2018, I kind of took her advice and I was like, well, let me seek some help from people that are already going through it. So I went on Facebook and found different support groups there.
So, is it easy to find places where you can get tested for HIV or AIDS? Is it easy to find professional help? If you do have it, do you
Hmm.
think the route that you went finding resources, was it easy or was it hard for you?
I guess it was a little easy because for one with my hospital back in Chicago, Lourdes Children's Hospital, shout out to them. I throw a lot of shout outs if you haven't noticed. um, with them, they've always gave that support. They was like, hey, do you need anything? Do you need to talk to anybody? Do you need any food? And they're always trying to figure something out to make it so where the patients know that they got support behind them.
Okay. And so since then, because I know that you said that from time to time you deal with depression, correct? Especially
Mm-hmm.
during certain times of the year. Do you
Mm-hmm.
still keep in contact with that teacher or
Oh yeah,
you do? So
yeah.
every year when that time comes around, you contact that teacher, or did you find like a different outlet to help you?
Oddly enough, starting to keeping it positive movement really helped out. Because like, yeah, probably since I started it, I've never really felt the same amount of depression that I went through. I mean, occasionally I'll be like, in my mind, why, questioning why. But I feel like being able to talk about comedy, being able to talk about HIV through comedy has really been almost like a therapist in itself.
So it's been therapeutic for you because now you can be open with that
Exactly.
with it, and then you're also educating other people. And you said that
Hmm.
one show where the audience just did not want to hear about. Can you
Yeah,
tell us a little bit more about that for those that
sure.
segment last week?
Yeah. So I won't shout out that one, but I went to this was when I started keeping it positive in 2018. I was sweating bullets because I was like, all right, how's the world going to take this? And so I was kind of promoting, starting a new phase with my comedy and introducing HIV into it. And so I performed at this one comedy club that was majority Black, and in the Black community, talking about HIV is a no-no. So I did my material. Everybody kind of just shut it off, like it was a switch. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm still going to get through it because again, this is therapeutic to me, and it's not even about me. Somebody in that audience might know somebody or might have HIV, and they don't know how to do it. So they don't know how to
Deal with
uh,
it.
deal with it. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to get through it regardless. And if just one person listens and hear my message, then I feel accomplished.
I think that you said that you did have someone in the audience that reached out to you, correct? Because
Hmm.
it was somebody that they knew personally that was that's HIV positive.
Hmm.
So they used the
Yeah.
platform to be educated, which is that one person that you were seeking. And I think through our goal is your goal, and what our
Mhm.
goal is in Closing the Gap program is to educate others. And I think this is a unique way, given the circumstances, of educating people out there because people are sitting in front of a computer now.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that helps out a lot. And so what is it? So when people get tested for HIV, what is the next step when they find out that they are positive?
Uh, if you are sexually active, talk to your partner, for sure, and understand the ways of protecting the both of you. Um, you know, also talking to your doctor regularly, because they're there to help you. So, stay active on your medicine, and you know, educate yourself on how to protect yourself.
And you've obviously can take it into account that you've been living a normal life, right? Because like
Mhm.
what people fear is that the unknown when they find out that they are HIV positive or possibly have AIDS.
Mhm.
So once again, I know we discussed this. What is the difference between HIV and what is the difference between AIDS?
HIV is the first step. It is, or the first phase, I should say. It is a immunodeficiency disease that attacks your immune system. And then if it's not diagnosed, if it's not treated, then it will eventually turn into the third phase, which is AIDS, and that really means that your body has broken down to the point where it's susceptible to other illnesses like cancer, like pneumonia, things like
COVID, right?
that. Mhm.
Right now with the pandemic, it's pretty scary for you and your wife.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to phase three of, well, here in Florida, we're going into phase three.
Mhm.
I mean, I imagine, I'm not sure what it's like over there. Um, what is that like for you? Because I know that you used to go out and do routines, like stand up routines, physically
Mhm.
person. And because of COVID, how has that changed things for you?
Uh, I want to say the pandemic actually helped out a lot, as far as pushing and keeping a positive movement. I've been going to Instagram a lot and promoting that way. And then there have been like different celebrities to join or do their Instagram live. And I'll be like, hey, can I make you laugh real quick? And then I'll do like 5 minutes of material for them and explain to them why I'm doing material on HIV, and they'll love it. Some of their followers will follow me, and it's been really helping. So I've been kind of appreciating the virtual aspect of this new normal, as they call it.
Can you give, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but I really am putting you on the spot. Give
Sure.
us a glimpse of your 5 minute routine or less.
Oh boy. All right. All right. So I'm gonna keep it PG because I know you guys probably got younger viewership. Um, so I'll always tell people, hey, my name's Andy Fez, the first ever openly HIV positive born stand-up comedian. Follow back if not, it's considered a hate crime. Uh, when I tell people that I'm born HIV positive, like they always give me these weird vibes,
With the
like
looks on their faces.
exactly, because HIV doesn't even sound scary as it used to back in 30 years ago. Like I tell people all the time, hey, I'm HIV positive. Like that sounds like I can run for president right there. But like these other diseases out here, they sound a lot more terrifying if you think about it, like chlamydia, syphilis, herpes, gonorrhea. Now, I don't know about you, but don't those sound like rejected names of Pokemon characters? Now, imagine you walk past your kid's room and all of a sudden you hear, all right, I caught chlamydia. It's like, you don't want that. Go wash your hands. And also, like, I hate telling people that I was born or that, I lost my mom to AIDS because they always find weird things to tell you, after they find out that you also
Oh
get,
my God, I'm so
you
sorry. Let me tell you about my mom too.
exactly. And they'll say things like, "Oh, she's no longer in pain. Oh, she's in a better place, and she's in a better." Look, me and my mom, we were born and raised in a scary part of Chicago, called Chicago, and she was only paying about $900 a month for rent. Now, excuse my Christian school education, but they told me mansion in heaven, and it ain't no way he's charging less than $2,500 a month. All right, look, pearly white gates, streets of gold, ain't no Section 8 in heaven. My mama is homeless in heaven. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah, so that's good 5 minutes there. Well, it might have been 3, but thank you.
That's a good 5 minutes to hook people in.
Thank you.
I know, like with the vibe with the audience and everything, it's a lot different too. Like when you're doing virtual events, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, we're just all trying to chime in at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now I know that in your other segments, you said that you mentioned STDs. Like, how do you go about mentioning STDs to children? Because I know that you said that that was one of your segments.
Yeah. Last week or this week actually, we discussed we do these discussion topics every once in a while. And it was like you said, how do you discuss STDs to children? Now I have like 4 guy kids, 9, let me get these right because they'll kill me. 9, 7, 6, and 9 months old. So or 9, 8. See, she'll kill me, and that's Danny too. So I know for a fact that they love Uncle Andy's. So they'll see eventually the work that I'm doing on social media with the whole keeping it positive thing. So I know they'll be like, oh, what's HIV that Uncle Andy's talking about? And then I gotta explain it. So we were discussing like when is the best time to explain it. And I personally feel like if you feel they're old enough to understand it, then that might be, whether that might be even a 6-year-old Davion, he might understand it. You never know. You don't know a child's maturity level.
So, because I know that when we go out in our Closing the Gap program, Marie, our HIV STDs educator, when she goes out, I know we've done videos for young children. So how do you explain to a child who is, we'll say, in 5th grade, HIV is?
First explain to them about hormones, because around 5th grade, I know around 4th grade, I fell in love with like 3 teachers by then. So explain to them what hormones is, and tell them, hey, when you like the significant other, you got to know how to protect yourself. There are things out there that you may not necessarily want, but you got to educate yourself on it.
Okay, so let's do role play. Right? I think that's better. Say I am a 4th grader, and hi, Uncle Brandon. What is HIV? Can you please tell me what that is?
Sure, it's yucky. Kidding. So you have HIV is something in your body that makes you sick. And when you like a boy, you have to, or a girl, you have to really understand that. See, this is why I'm a godfather, not a parent yet. You got to understand how. Say that again.
You're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you. You gotta put it.
It just makes you very sick, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't take your medication, it
makes you sick.
Yes, exactly. And you don't want to be sick. I think that's the best way to describe.
I'm calling you when my god kids ask me. Here, talk to Auntie Linda.
Please. Yes. Got to keep it simple with children, but I think it's the same way with adults too, because I think a lot of them don't understand it. We're trying to get our people in our community who are so afraid, and many resources. We have the buses that the hospital sends out where they can go and get tested for free, and they're too afraid to do it.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they're too vulnerable. They don't want to find out. But if they don't find out, they could get really sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because with the medication, it's something that you can manage and you can control, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, I'm sure there is one moment in your life where something that sticks out in your mind. And I know that you said that your grandmother raised you,
Mm-hmm.
right? She did a
Yeah.
great job raising you.
Yeah. She's probably watching.
I think she maybe. What is her name?
Johnny Cox.
Yep, she's on. She's
Yep. Yep.
watching. Hi, Johnny Cox.
Shout out to Nana.
So, yes, is there a moment or a memory that you have where you felt like being HIV positive, other than like a depression, like a moment where you like really hit your low point, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
what did you do to dig yourself out of it?
Mm, I think one of the lowest points maybe would have been, as I mentioned, my mom's 10th anniversary. And so I was like really, really depressed. And at one point, my oldest daughter, Janae, she was born. And then I had my little brother, Teray, he was born. So I just thought about it. I was like, I got to push through for them, because my brother, looked up to me. And then, my goddaughter, her dad is not really in her life, so she really looks up to me now. So like I'm always like pushing to just make sure they know that I'm still here for them regardless.
Okay, wow, yes. And so when was there a moment that you had to tell your younger siblings or your grandkids that you're HIV positive, or you haven't told them? I mean,
No, I haven't told them.
they don't know.
Because it haven't come up in question yet.
Okay, so how do you think that they would, you know, how would they react?
I feel like after I explain it to them, I'll mention, hey, have you ever seen Uncle Brandon sick, or have you ever seen your big brother sick? I mean, besides the common cold, no, because it's something that is totally controllable. It's manageable.
Okay, and then you're married,
Hmm.
and so let's go back because I know we discussed in our last segment.
Hmm.
What's that like um, telling your partner that you're HIV positive?
With Lauren, my wife, she was very open minded. As I mentioned last week, we were kind of aggressive, put it that way. And so it was leading up to things, and I was like, let's stop, pump the brakes for a second. I want to chat about some things. And so she mentioned her life. I mentioned my mom, and growing up HIV positive and things like that. And she wanted to learn a lot about it. And so we went to Columbia College Chicago, the art one, not the smart one. So we she took a HIV class, a science class, just because she wanted to learn more about what's going on with me. And so she asked her teacher, oddly enough, her teacher's name was Lynette. Can't remember her last name, but I just remember Lynette because that's my mom's name. And so she asked her, hey, I got a boyfriend who is HIV positive and he's a comedian. I would love for him to talk to the class. And I remember she brought this up to me, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is before keeping positive and everything. I'm like,
Right. She
why
just
are
puts
you
you on the
speaking on
spot
my
like
behalf?
that.
I didn't ask for this.
It's out there.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, all right, what the heck? So this was the very, very first time that I mentioned that I was HIV positive publicly.
And how did
And
you feel when
it's
you?
like a weight off my shoulders. It was literally because it was such a secret for my entire life, and just to
And
be able
that,
to just, yeah,
right.
to just say this to total strangers, it was like a weight off my shoulders.
And what did those? Do you recall any of the questions that those total strangers had asked you?
Mainly the common stuff. Have you ever been sick? how many pills do you take a day?
How many pills do you take a day?
2 right now. There was a point in time where I used to take at least about 10, but that's including like my thumb stuff too for calcium. Um, but yeah, I used to take a lot of medicine. It used to be morning. What was it, about 3, maybe 4 in the morning, and 3 or 4 at night.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what about the uncommon questions? What kind of uncommon questions do you get when you tell people you're HIV positive or in that classroom?
A lot about, me and my wife, how does my wife feel about it? How do you have babies with HIV?
How do you have babies? I mean, we know how to have babies, but
Yeah.
how do you?
With people with HIV, you got a couple of ways of doing it. You got what's considered sperm washing, which is when they basically get the sperm out of the egg. Or I'm sorry, get the HIV virus out of the sperm and artificially inseminate it. And there is another way, but I'm drawing a blank because it is 9:30 here.
And are there, because I know like the medication must be very expensive, and I think that's what a lot of people go through is
Hmm.
the fear of finding out that they are HIV positive, or how can they afford the doctor's appointments, all the
Yeah.
medication, or just, you know,
Hmm.
your baby happen, right? Like, what would you say? Are there resources available to people who can't afford it?
Definitely. When I moved to Vegas 3 years ago, that was always a question to me. And this goes back to my nurses at Lurie's Children, where they was like, "Hey, we want to send over stuff. We look up doctors that'll be great for you." And I had to kind of look up how to go about getting that, that financial support with it. So I went to what's it called, Nevada Health Clinic out here, and Southern Nevada Health Clinic, and they helped me out with trying to get into what's called the Ryan White program, which is a program that helps people with HIV or AIDS get funded for their medicine.
Okay, so I mean, there are free and available resources for
Hmm.
people. They shouldn't be afraid.
Hmm.
First step is finding out if you are or if
Yeah,
you're not, and then, tackling the issue at hand. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of because,
yeah,
I mean, the worst that could happen is not being HIV positive or dying because you didn't take your medication and it
yeah.
progressing into AIDS.
Yeah, and taking pills, I mean, it don't bother me now because I've been doing it for so long. But I know after a while, when I first started, it was horrible because my grandma could vouch for me. I used to just, you know, put in my mouth and throw them out or throw them up. So it was bad.
What did get you to
And
take your pills because you were so young?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it didn't change my life at all. Like I just take them, and it feels off when I don't take them.
Oh, so how did your grandma, how did she get you to take your pills? Because I mean, no kids take pills.
um, to this day, I hate original chips, the plain potato chips. Hate them
Like the Lay's
because,
original potato chips.
oh my god, because we started with that, and the nurse was like, "Well, have them crunch it up and put the pill in," and that's when it just all my grandma had to put newspapers on the floor because she knew it was coming. So we tried that, and then we moved on to Snickers, and I was like, "Yeah, this ain't working either." And then, well, they gave I want to reiterate that they gave me like empty capsules to swallow. So it was like
Capsules?
practice pills, and
Oh,
that wouldn't work. And then we found out taking it with juice. So for a while, I took it with Hawaiian Punch, and to this day, I don't drink Hawaiian Punch anymore because it's just I did it for like a good solid 10 years. I was like, okay, enough. Enough Hawaiian Punch. I feel like if I get surgery and the doctors cut me open, it's just gonna be the Hawaiian Punch man just sitting in my stomach. So now I kind of just take it with any juice I can find. I just can't do water. It just the coating on the
yeah.
pills dissolve in your mouth and it's a weird taste. So I need something to kind of mask that coding.
A chaser, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So moving forward, because I know that you said that right now you have this keeping it positive movement. I want to focus a little bit about that because I want people to know what the keeping it positive movement is.
Mm-hmm.
So we can all use that hashtag on social media.
For sure.
Tell me a little bit about the keeping it positive movement, the message you have it, the mission behind it,
Mm-hmm.
vision you have for it. We obviously know you're passionate. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us.
Okay, keeping it positive. Was started 20 years after my mom passed away. And it was to the point where I was just like, all right, I'm tired of being sad. I'm gonna find a way to work with this. So I basically said, let me use my stand-up comedy. This was a outlet that I've never seen anybody use, especially people that were born with it, to talk about HIV. So I started writing material on it. And then after that, it started to evolve more to where I can talk to organizations like you guys, talk to organizations around the world, Ghana, Uganda, Belize, Ontario, different places. And so I kind of wanted to push the education part as well as the entertainment part. So I use my YouTube platform also to like create videos and show how life is with HIV and question and answer stuff and type of things like that. So yeah, pushing that and the empowering part too. So making sure people know, hey, you can live healthy with it. So yeah, it's hashtag keeping it positive for anybody that just want to follow along. And yeah, the goal I always tell people is to prevent my mom's death from happening again to anybody else. So that means as my mom was afraid to talk about it, I want people to be able to know that, hey, we're talking about HIV and AIDS and you can't stop.
Do you think that she was afraid to talk about it because back then, people were just very.
Oh, I think you froze. Okay, can you repeat that one more time? You froze.
Yes, like, do you think that back then your mom was afraid of it or just didn't want to talk about it or accept it because, people who had HIV and AIDS were just treated differently than
Yeah.
as opposed to if you have it today where we know some celebrities have it,
Mm-hmm.
open about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I totally think it was that reason, and it's crazy because that was 25 years ago, and people still hold on to these stigmas that somebody with HIV it should look like sick, and people were sick with HIV and stuff like that, or they're nasty, they're what's the Fergie song? What's the word I'm looking for when you are out there having sex with a lot of people? Promiscuous. That's the word.
was it
Promiscuous.
promiscuous? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, people still hold on to these stigmas, and I totally believe that my mom felt that she couldn't talk to anybody because she would be looked at as, oh, she's promiscuous and she's out there, and she was only
Would be
26 at
afraid
the
to
time.
touch her, come near
Exactly.
her, talk to
Exactly.
her.
Yeah.
Do you get that a lot these days too? Because I know that there are some people who just have these stereotypes,
Mm-hmm.
right, in their head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, do you get that a lot? Like when you tell people, do they become like standoffish with you? Treat you
Some do, but not as extreme. I guess because it's 2020, we can kind of have a little bit more of an open mindset.
yeah.
And so I've been asked if I'm gay. I've been asked, are you sick? I've been asked, oh, can you have kids or not? you know.
Yeah.
So now I don't look at it as offensive, but I look at it as, well, now since you put yourself out there, especially with social media, you might as well start educating people since that's what you're preaching.
Right, exactly. Because then people will see the questions they ask, it's not what they thought of, what
Mm-hmm.
of you.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is awesome and it's great. We know that we are strong supporters of you and you are
Thank you.
and we love the fact that you are so supportive of of Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies,
Definitely.
and especially our Closing the Gap program.
I was just about to say shout out to Closing the Gap.
Thank you. And but yes, I think that with both of us, both of you with your platform and our organization or agency, I think we're able to help not only the people that are on the West Coast, but also on the East Coast and hopefully internationally too, because everyone is on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So next week, next Friday, we are also doing our third segment with Andy Feds. We do, if you have any questions for Andy, he is on right now, please feel free to type in your questions. You can even leave it in the comments. He will receive it. We will answer the questions for you in the next segment. But, you know, if you, maybe next time we can talk about a little bit more of like your being a teenager, right?
Oh boy. Oh boy. My grandma would love that one because I was a mess as a teenager.
Maybe your grandma can chime in too.
Oh, she's not doing no interviews. I can tell you that now. Don't get your hopes up.
Just to give us a little insight of like what she had to deal with, you know, taking care of a child, be positive, because we also have to think about the caretakers too, like the people are taking care of you, making sure that you take your pills. Like we have to understand from their end too. Maybe your wife.
Maybe. Yeah, she might be home next Friday. I think so.
So then we can talk a little bit, ask some questions maybe. But thank you, Andy. We really appreciate.
No problem. Thank you guys at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. Shout out to you guys.
Thank you. So why don't you stay on while I disconnect our Facebook Live?
Okay.
And thank you for everyone who tuned in. Andy will be on again next Friday at 12 o'clock p.m. for our feature Friday on the East Coast. And I think it's 9 o'clock a.m. right on the West Coast.
Yep.
So it will also be on Facebook Live on Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition of Broward County. So feel free to share this information. You can reach out to me. My information is also on there on the flyer, or you can reach out to Andy Feds.
Yep, Andy Feds dash comedian on Facebook, or Andy Feds comedy on everything else.
Thank you.
Hey guys, don't forget, if you like this video, don't forget to press the like button, share, and subscribe. Also follow me at Andy Feds Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Hey guys, this is Andy Feds here with another video. Peace.